time straight to.
Straight to questions.
It sounds good. Jeremiah, we're going to lead off with you. Please go ahead and ask your question when you're ready.
Yeah, I guess how would you rate the sort of the mental state of the team both now and heading into this game and I don't know, how are you feeling?
Close the door. So, how am I feeling? Well, obviously, we have a dejected, you know, bunch of players. The mental state of the team. Obviously, it's a shot to the chin. They're going to be fine. I mean, you saw they're together. They're together, standing at the national anthem. They're together. Mental state of the team, Jeremiah. You've got guys in there that are good pros. You've got guys that are been through ups and downs. So they're going to keep working. What I tried to tell them after the game was, you can look at the easy thing to do is, you can look at Nuhu, you can look at Jonathan Bell and the red cards as the reason why we lost the game. But that's the easy thing to do. I think it's more, the offensive struggles in the first half to create clear scoring chances. I mean, the ball that comes across, Ryan Kent started off first 10 minutes very good, staying out wide. Alex volleys that ball in. We go up 1-0 within the first 10 minutes. The game changes. So it's the attacking struggles that are causing some of the concern that I have, if you're asking me how I'm feeling. What I would do differently is I did not think that Vancouver was going to play at 5 at the back. So I probably would have switched Masoski in there. I think that would have been a better option. So that's on me. I'm the one that makes the decisions on who starts and how the team plays. So I'll take responsibility for this. I can tell you that I will reflect on, the guys that, started the game. And then some of the guys that came into the game and measure who deserves to start for, the next game against Botafogo. This club has always been able to overcome adversity. Life's never easy. You could say that, maybe Vancouver's life is easy because they're first and they just pounded their arch rival 3-0. But even they had to overcome some challenges this week. So I give them credit. So we're going to regroup and we're going to try and figure out a way how to be competitive in the next 3 games. And then hopefully there'll be reinforcements coming up and we'll get back to, what I told them in the locker room was, San Diego was it was a low point. San Diego was a low point because that game, they didn't put the effort in. So I was a little bit more upset about that game. This game, we didn't play well. But the effort, even down 2 guys, the effort that Paul Rothrock put in there, that Kalani put in there, those guys kept after it. JP came on. Okay. Masoski came on. At least they continued to fight. So I was a little bit more upset about San Diego. So we went on a little bit of a run after that low point. So we're going to try and do the same.
All right. Next question, we'll go over to Jada Evans. Jada, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time, Brian. It kind of extends on what you were just saying there as far as the loss. This one doesn't feel, or does this one feel embarrassing considering the fact of, them being down and just some of the errors that were made in this match?
Well, embarrassed is an interesting choice of words, interesting adjective. I can feel embarrassed. because I've been a member of this club for a long time, and I hate losing. The players need to feel how they feel. They have to reflect. They have to understand that, their performances wasn't good. So I'll answer it like that. Yes. I didn't like the outcome of the game. I'm embarrassed because I need to do a better job to make sure that the team is prepared to play. We talked about this being a trap game. We talked about it ad nauseum, being a trap game. And yet somehow we fell into that. So again, if you're asking me my assessment in the game, it's the general team defending along with the kind of not a lot of good attacking movements rather than, again, the two reds that caused this game to get out of hand. Because the goal that they scored, I didn't mention that in my first question, my first response to Jeremiah, they were playing a little bit too passively defensively. And look, we were the best defensive team in the league last year. And, we've been giving up goals left and right. So that's got to stop.
With Jonathan, that seemed, again, kind of a incidental kind of contact, but with Nuhu, was there any talk with him? I know, it's fresh off of the loss, but was there any talk with him about the way that he committed a foul to stop the play?
Well, I would agree that Jonathan's foul was a penalty, and I would agree that Nuhu's red was a red. Or, Jonathan's foul was a red card. That one, maybe there was a guy behind there, not the penalty, not JP's thing. Jonathan Bell, was that a penalty? Incidental contact? Was Christian in a place to make the play? Okay, fine, fair enough. Nuhu's was definitely a red card. And look, Nuhu knows better. That message was delivered. I didn't, we're not sugarcoating it. We're not afraid to run away from hard conversations. Nuhu should be better in that moment. Judging the flight of the ball, if he can't win it, he's got to just take a different angle. Nuhu's been a lockdown defender for us for many, many years, but he needs to do better on that play. And he needs to do better even in the first part of the game too.
All right, next question. We're going to order Maz Vida. Maz, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yeah, Brian, you mentioned this a little bit about the defending. It seemed to me, well, I'll ask a question. Did you feel that there was a lack of detail to defending up top and then also in the goal box? Because on both of the red cards, Tristan Blackman, there were passes from Tristan Blackman, who was wide open, that allowed for their players to get into the tangle with your defenders. And it looked like there was some misplays inside your goal box early. Is that a fair assessment or not?
You asked about 3 different questions in there.
Yeah.
I'll try and answer them all.
Yeah.
Did I think pressure was good on their players? No. They had too much time and space to pick passes out. Did I think our defending inside the penalty box was good enough? No. Go back and watch the first goal. Do I think that guys took angles that were wrong? Yeah, obviously. I mean, Jonathan Bell's angle and Nuhu's angle were wrong. But again, individual mistakes aren't the only reason why we lost this game. It is a team sport. It is a team collective. You mentioned defending from the front. When they switch to 5 at the back and their build is with 3, we played against that. We just played against Minnesota. So the trick is Albert drops back. We press with Jesus, Pedro, and Ryan Kent. And we match them up 3 for 3. But the guys weren't able to execute. So that's, again, a little bit of lack of, discipline or energy, I think, in our defending. That was a reason for it.
And then just a positive, the start of the second half, it looked like you had energy there. There was some going to the front foot, you build a little bit from the back, and then obviously all you know what breaks
It
loose.
didn't last long, Maz. I don't know how long that lasted, that positive energy. But guys were, guys came out of halftime. Yeah, we were trying to get some things started. We had a plan in place. If it didn't work after 5-8 minutes, we were going to make subs. We had subs lined up. Subs in our, if it wasn't working after 8 minutes, we were going to make 3 changes. Then we take a red card.
Red card was after 7 minutes, coach.
7. Sorry.
No, but I'm just saying that's what it shows.
All right, next we're going to go over to George next. George, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, Coach. Just curious if the red cards move to the next game. So with the Botafogo, so who you're going to have available in defense, and then if you've been maybe looking at Keito Yamada because I think he's been playing really well for Tacoma Defiance. And the second part is, do you think there is a little bit of a lack of balance on the team when you have both Pedro and Ryan Kent, because they seem like they're very aggressive players that maybe try to always go forward instead of maybe keeping the ball as the team does with other players?
Well, I'll answer the first one first. Red cards don't cross over in a Club World Cup. That's number one. Keita is a fine young player. You can ask Craig that question when we come back in on Wednesday. As far as Pedro de la Vega and Ryan Kent, they are very good players. And having 2 tremendous wingers, in my opinion, is a good thing. Now, I will certainly debate my choice of, do you put a guy like Paul who's, defends a little bit more? Sure, maybe away from home. But, all the reports we had was this was a depleted Vancouver Whitecap team. So we wanted to put our most aggressive attacking lineup on the field to see if we couldn't put them under pressure. And again, that's where we failed. We didn't put them under, enough pressure offensively. And so that's the outcome of the game. But Ryan Kent, tremendous player. Pedro de la Vega, very talented young player.
And Coach, I realize it might be unfair to ask this question, but I think it needs to be asked. So there have been reports about ICE doing raids for MLS games, and there's a report today on the New York Times about people being afraid of going to the Club World Cup because of ICE raids. Is there any way that the Sounders can give assurance to the supporters that there will be no ICE raids during the Club World Cup?
Well, control the controllables is one of my favorite sayings. And last time I checked, I can't control what the President of the United States or ICE as an organization, I can't control what they do. And I don't think Adrian can control that. I don't think Craig can control that. I don't think anybody in our organization can control that. That's a political dilemma that's happening in this country. It's a sad thing. But the Sounders cannot, we don't have the ability to impact what the government does.
All right, going to go back to Jeremiah, and then Felipe will get to you after that one. Go for it, Jeremiah.
Yeah, Brian, I know we've talked about this a lot, and I'm sure you're tired of talking about it, but do you feel that the whole situation with the Club World Cup prize pool has had any sort of effect on the players' focus and whatnot?
Well, they've opened the door for that conversation. Last 2 results haven't been great. But, I've had conversations with the players. I thought that they had, put it to bed. But, you know, obviously the results it opens that door. They've opened themselves up. Again, Jeremiah, what I would say is, in fairness to them, they haven't quit. But also in fairness to you guys or the fans, the 2,500 people that came to the game tonight, they can certainly question that, But, as far as I'm concerned, our messaging has been, okay, you guys made a statement, but you know what? We've got to push past this because life isn't always easy. You're not always going to get what you want. And so at some point, there has to be a final outcome to whatever negotiations are going on. And then we as a club and the players as a group just have to move forward. And I think that group of players can do that.
All right, Felipe, we're going your way next. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. Coach Brian, it's a week away from to start your participation in the Club World Cup against Botafogo. You just expressed concerns about the team's attacking. Is this because you don't have the players that you need to put a good attacking, or is it because the players that you have are not performing the way that you would like them to perform?
Well, Craig has given me a good roster. We have talented players. Does it hurt having Jordan have a setback? Yes. Maybe that was in the players' minds because everybody was excited. Jordan was excited. He looked good in training. All of our training was geared around, maybe having him come back. And then he comes up with an injury. That's certainly one part of it. Jesus has scored 50 goals in this league. We paid $6 million for Pedro de la Vega. Albert Rusnak had his career best year last year. Ryan Kent, had many good years at Rangers. Opportunities to play in the Premiership. Christian has been such a tremendous player for us. Kalani has scored 2 goals. Paul Rothrock continues to be, dangerous in front of the net. So I think the pieces are there. We just have to get the pieces in the right shape. We have to get them with the right confidence. And then we'll see where we end up.
Jada, coming back your way.
Thank you. Brian, you had mentioned earlier that the team was going to stay in a hotel for the Club World Cup, have a dinner, things like that. Can you share a little bit about what the week's plan is then? Like, when would you check in? When are those things? Are you still going to do those, especially considering the protest? And what is the schedule for it?
Yeah, nothing's going to change, Jada. The protest, again, was something that happened. We're trying to push past it. This club is still the only club to push that CCC or CCL back when we won it over the line. And Vancouver was close, LAFC was close, Columbus was close, other teams were close. But we're the only ones that did it. And we actually earned, I guess you could say LAFC. LAFC had to beat Club America. But we won the tournament in 2022, and rightfully so. We were a participant in the first ever Club World Cup. And that's something that we're very proud of. And we wanted to make this a big occasion because it is a big occasion. Because it's a FIFA tournament. You've got all of the biggest clubs in the world, 3 of the biggest clubs in the world in our group, plus Real Madrid, Chelsea, Italian team, Spanish team. I mean, you name it, the biggest clubs in the world are coming here to play games. And so, yes, we're going to treat this as a big experience because it is. And the fans back in Seattle, I mean, look, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be people that are down on the club. I get it. After 2 sour performances, I get it. But This is, again, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come to the stadium and enjoy, hopefully, a nice summer night. You're going to see us play against a different type of opponent. Hopefully, we're going to be competitive. There's other games going on. If you want to watch, Inter Milan, the other, participant in the Champions League final, Japanese team, you got an Argentinian team, you got a Spanish team, it's just good for the sport of soccer. So, for me, I hope everybody shows up. I hope people still believe in the team, believe in the players. I hope so, because it's a big deal.
But can you share at all when you're going to check in or anything?
Well, for the first game, because it's a 7:00 kickoff against Botafogo, and because part of it is FIFA regulations. So FIFA doesn't allow us to just drive in like on a normal game day. We have to arrive together on a bus. So the players are going to go to a hotel, and then we're going to eat our team meal, and then put their legs up for a few hours, and we're going to get on a bus. And because of the security around the event, the bus is going to come with all of us on board, or the two buses, and we're going to get out. We're going to play the game, and we're going to get back on the buses and go back to the hotel, and the players can do what they please after that. For the second match against Atletico Madrid, we will spend the night because it's an earlier kickoff, 3:00 kickoff. We'll have a team meal at 6:30 the night before. We'll watch film because that's what we normally do on the road. We stayed in a hotel prior to, the CONCACAF Champions League, the MLS Cup here in 2019, because those are big games. This is a big game. So we're going to do what we normally do for big matches. And then the game against PSG, the Champions League winners, it's at 12 noon. So we'll do the same thing. We'll have a little training session, go to the hotel, watch film. I don't know how much film we're going to watch against PSG. Maybe we watch the final a little bit against Inter Milan, something. Try and get the guys prepared to play. And then we'll play a noon kickoff against PSG.
Thank you.
Maz, go ahead and close us out.
Yeah, Brian, I'm just wondering about the transition that you will do. You've got this loss that, you're going to look at and get into that. And then also transition into the opportunity that the Club World Cup, and I would say an opportunity that was earned, as you just mentioned, and then how do you transition those two and get your club ready for obviously an opportunity that they earned for the fans and your whole organization?
Well, one of my favorite books is Boys in the Boat, because I think it talks about the Pacific Northwest grit and overcoming adversity. I recommend everybody read it. I didn't like the movie so much, but the book certainly was great. And, it's easy to be a big man, a big shot when things are going well and you make a lot of money and you drive a nice car and things are going well in your life. It's easy. When adversity hits, when you're in a tough patch, when you're in a place where you're not comfortable, where you have to make, decisions that affect other people, that's when true men really step forward and find solutions. They're able to pull themselves up when they're in a hole. And that's what I expect from myself, the coaching staff, the players, everybody in the organization, to try and come together and at least put on a competitive performance in these Club World Cup games and show the rest of the world that there is that grit and determination and drive to be, at the top of our league on a consistent basis, that's there. And the players, a lot of players, 6, 7, 8 players from that 2022 squad are still here. And we're providing them a platform to, give them to see what they can do. So we'll switch gears pretty quickly. We're going to give them 2 days off, rest up physically, rest up mentally. And then we'll have a 4-day lead into our first Club World Cup game against Botafogo.
Thank you.
Ryan, thanks for your time. Safe travels home. Media, stick tight. We'll determine player participants here shortly.